came out of the gates shooting the ball really well, 8 for 9 at halftime. It's you better be up significantly at halftime when you shoot 8 for 9 from three. I mean, that solves all the problems. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, that particular team certainly enjoys it. So, we felt like they'd come after us in the second half, and we were going to have to be composed and take care of the basketball. And certainly, when going into the game, it's what we emphasized the most. And even though we were up, whatever we were up 18 at half, we still had a high turnover number with 12. But the second half, we only had 6 and ended up with 18, which is, a large number, and it's higher than our average. But that's what they do to people. I certainly would have been much happier if we had 13-14 against a team like this. But the way we shot the ball, it covered up any of the other mistakes that we made.
Coach, I guess I asked this half jokingly, but safe to say that you have solved the WAC Friday woes. And just, I guess, how good is it to get a win on Friday now, kind of reversing the script where now you're going into Saturday looking for a sweep?
Yeah, it's a much better feeling. It's this new territory for us in this particular season with the format. So now we know what others feel like when they win a game on Friday heading into Saturday, and it's much better. I wouldn't call it euphoric or anything like that, but it's much better than how you feel after you lose and trying to figure out, how to get yourself up and then in turn get the team ready to go, which, unfortunately, we've had a lot of practice at that, and we've been pretty successful at it thus far too. But this will be different. This will be a different mentality. We're going to play against a team that obviously is not going to be happy with the result, and I'm sure they're going to rally the troops. And we've already talked about it, on the bus before we got back to the hotel, and we'll meet here a little bit later before we go to bed and talk about it again. So it won't be a lot of X and O's. It will be more of just the mindset, making sure our heads are screwed on straight and understand that that's over. It's done with. It's 1 40-minute game, and each game has its own story to it.
Coach, how would you describe the team's approach in practice these past few days? Did you kind of see this kind of outing coming?
I'd be lying if I said that. Our practices have been better the last 2 to 3 weeks, and we've really focused on practice and trying to get everybody to understand the relationship between practice and the results of the game. And you just don't have a lot of practices left, and we've got to get the most out of each and every one. And we talk a lot about that heading to the practice floor when we do practice, that they're critical. And I again, who knows, who really knows, but I think these kids have committed to put more time in the gym. Some of the strokes look more confident even early, but they'll tell you when that ball goes through the hole, it's just a different feeling for them and becomes contagious. And that's what happened tonight. And I was happy for them. It's fun to do that once in a while. You can't rely on it. You can't, you lose a lot of games if you rely on shooting that percentage from three. But when it does happen, it's fun to be a part of it.
If somebody told you you had 18 turnovers in a game, would you think you'd win by 27 points?
No, I wouldn't think we win by that margin. I think we still have a chance to win the game, especially when you're playing a team that prides itself on turning the ball over. We were disappointed at halftime about our turnover number. 2 guys had 6 of them, so that was disappointing. 2 of them were team type 5-count situations, I think. So we'll break it down and learn from it. But, in the second half, we only had 6. But seriously, a byproduct of that was, our half-court offense was so bad the last 8 to 10 minutes of the game that we didn't pass the ball much. We just kind of dribbled it around and try to survive the pressure and try to get a shot off. So when you don't pass the ball, your turnover rate tends to go down a little bit more. But our offense wasn't great the last 10 minutes, and that certainly was disappointing. And I'm sure we'll watch plenty of that in the next 24 hours.
Coach, do you have any update on the guys who weren't able to suit up? Wilfred, Maya, and Gerald, even Evan, who subbed out pretty early?
Let's see. Gerald has a health issue that's a non-COVID related that we're trying to sort through. Who else did you ask about? There's so many of them.
Yeah, sorry about that. Wilfred and then also Mayan.
Yeah, Wilford is in concussion protocol. So he was out for tonight's game. I'm not sure if he progressed today or not, if he'll be available tomorrow, but even if he is, he hadn't done anything, other than the progression, the phases that they have to go through. And, my approach with things like that is I just get a daily update from the trainer and tell me who's in, who's out. And we practice and play, that way. Evan, I haven't got an update yet. I'll meet with the trainer here in about 45 minutes and see where he's at going forward. And then, Mayan Kerr was not on this trip because of the head coach's decision. And we left him back in Cruces this weekend.
Also, I guess I know you haven't talked to the trainer yet or doctor, but just is it like a leg, ankle, just what sort of area for Evan?
I'm not certain.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Coach, you said tomorrow will be a different mindset. I guess what I want to know is just you guys have been really good on Saturdays. I know that that's coming on the heels of a loss. How will the mindset, I guess, be different considering you guys have been so successful on Saturdays? Is it mostly because your opponent is going to be with a different mindset?
Well, I think we'll probably try to reverse it on them and say, we've been in their shoes. We know how that feels. No one wants to get swept, and try to get them to understand how they felt the last few weeks and what they've done about it. And with Coach Gillespie and his staff, been around the blocks as many times as they have, as tough and hard-nosed as they are. They play hard. They just compete. They're relentless that way. And, they're not going to be happy, and they're going to rally the troops. And it's going to be a big game for them to see how they respond. And so we'll talk about understanding that, because we've been on the other side of the coin this season and what we've done about it. And that it's not going to be simple. It's not going to be easy. We're probably not going to go 8 for 9 from 3.5. And we're going to have to run, better offense, especially when they get up in us. And we're going to have the same approach defensively that we had tonight.
Guys, anything else for Coach Jantz tonight?
Okay, guys. Appreciate it. See you tomorrow night.
Appreciate it, Coach.
All right.
Yep.
Chris.